It is very much my story of how, you just need to disrupt yourself to reinvent yourself. Money was a huge motivator for me. It's just a different level of freedom, which I was so determined to get. What is your definition of a rich life? Whatever your dreams are, the universe has dreamt a much bigger dream for you, and your number one job in life is to figure out what that is. So I'm figuring it out. Yeah.
So to kick us off, when people ask, so what do you do? What do you answer?
Oh my gosh, I still struggle with this question after 2 years. It's so easy, right? Because when you're in corporate, you just say, I am vice president of, and then people can put you in a box and go, yeah, okay, you belong there. So I struggle with this. Like I still, as you can hear me right now, stumbling. I usually start by, well, I do a lot of things because I do a lot of things, but I'm a multi-hyphenate. And I'm trying to build an ecosystem of companies that is focused around women, but also reinvention. So, and I do that through my content. I do that through writing, speaking, and the companies that I'm building.
Yeah.
So I need to work on that.
Yeah. What do you want people to remember when they meet you?
Well, I think I want people to remember. I want people to remember that they can, whatever it is they want, they can.
Yeah. Let's dive in, right? You had a very interesting career, starting doing what success looks like in society. You have a technical background, right? A trained engineer, aren't you? Yes. So very male dominated.
Yep.
And then you went into tech companies and really climbed up the ladder there. How long have you been in corporate?
Well, I started when I was 21 and I left when I was 45.
Wow. And where was that? Was that in Singapore or somewhere else?
Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I put myself through uni and then had my first job as an engineer and then moved to Singapore in 2006. And one thing led to another. But I think every leap I made was like big leaps. Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, my first leap was as an engineer. Firstly, I negotiated my salary as a fresh graduate. I was one of the last to get my job. And so I knew what the market rate was based on what my friends were earning. And at this time, I was sleeping on the floor on a single mattress with 3 other girls in a 1-bedroom. And so when the offer came to me, the general manager said, okay, I'm going to pay you 1,800 ringgit, which is the market rate. I said, no, you will pay me 2,200 ringgit. And I think he was so shocked that he said, okay.
I love it. You put your foot down. And
I just wanted
How old
to sleep.
were you then?
I was 21.
Yeah.
I wanted to sleep in my own bed and in my own room.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not coming out of my 1,800 salary. And so this is what I talk to women about in Ask and You Shall Most Likely Receive. And so the first leap, I'll just talk about that one, was going from an engineer into sales. So the company that I joined as an engineer, they paid for all the certifications. And I was in a team of 3. It was a very small company. It was an IBM distributor. And one guy was in his 30s, one guy was in his 40s. I am never going to beat them experience-wise, but I could beat them certification-wise. So I went out and got every possible certification I could on the subject matter expertise I was supposed to be doing. And so 1 year in, I said to that same boss, it's like, I'm like the most certified person in Malaysia right now. So you should raise my salary by 50%. And he gave me the 1,000 ringgit increase.
So what was the driver behind it? Was that the fortune really, or was it the fame? Did you want to get ahead of the guys, or the fun of it?
Money was a huge motivator for me because I grew up without it. And also I saw how my father was treated when he stopped working. And we were always struggling with money. And I thought, you know what? How will I live a life that I don't want all of this in my home? So money was a big motivator. I was
independence,
like, just getting the next thing. So, I was like a hustler, as you well know in entrepreneurship. And this is why I so believe that you don't need some Ivy League degree, or I grew up with blue-collar parents who couldn't teach me much. I didn't travel. I didn't know etiquette. I didn't know how to dress, right? All of these are learnable skills. So anybody can do this. I wasn't born with any of these skills. So anyway, I get sent to Singapore for this conference. And this IBM executive meets me at this networking drinks. And he talks to me for like 5 minutes. I don't know who he is. And he's like, you should be in sales. And I was like, what sales? I don't know sales. And I'm like, no. I'm like down this path. I think I want to go to Silicon Valley someday, as every engineer says at that time. I don't even know what I'm saying. But a few months later, I had an offer from IBM to go into sales. And those were the days when they had like an IQ test, right? 10 interviews. I only had 1 interview. So I was sponsored by this man into this role, which is why.
And why did he do that, do you think?
Yeah, I guess he saw something in me and gave me a chance. And I talk about it today, that this is the most important relationship currency in the workplace. Someone putting their reputation on the line to advocate for you.
Yeah.
So
more than mentorship, really getting things done.
Yeah, I mean, you get advice from mentors. So mentors advise and sponsors act. So it's more high stakes, right?
There's something that cost them. Going back to your how you grew up, and then you actually made it through the ranks in corporate. Especially women, I would say, are very good at telling themselves stories. Like, I am like this, or I'm just small, or I'm a victim, or I'm really good at this. I also did this when I went through the thing. So when I was in corporate, it was like, okay, I matter. It was a story I told myself. Then I switched into entrepreneurship. Nothing of that was true anymore. And I had to change my story because it didn't match reality anymore. You can imagine growing up like you did. There were maybe stories you did or did not tell yourself that were helpful in the
Very
whole
much so.
trajectory. So what was that?
Well, I started reading business magazines at the age of 9. My uncle from the big city, Kuala Lumpur, would visit us in this little small town called Johor Bahru, where I grew up, every few months. And for some reason, he would just give me those business magazines and I'd read them. And, we talk about visualization a lot. So what I'm seeing in those magazines are people traveling around the world, having a corner office, almost all men, but I didn't care. And I was like, I'm going to be that. I'm going to get that. I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going to have big jobs. I'm going to earn a lot of money. I'm going to have 7 cars, 1 to drive each day a week. It's just a stupid thing. Then I moved to Singapore and you can't buy cars here. So yeah, that started from 9 every day, just looking at that. So it really just came from those magazines.
And visualized what life could be like.
Yep.
Did you ever tell your uncle?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I many years ago at one of my cousin's wedding, I went up to him and said, "You have no idea what you did for me from the age of 9. Like I've only come to realize it now."
Yeah. Fast forward, right? You left corporate now, and now you started of your own. So what was that transition moment like? When did it start to kind of be a friction with whatever was really going on versus your title, your role, the money even that you made, which played a big role?
Yes,
right? I understand. So can you tell us what that was like? What did you feel? What happened?
So I got a computer science degree became an engineer, and then built a career in tech, which is typically what you do. And then you get to the highest levels. And I loved having a corporate career. Loved. Of course, there's downsides and things that you don't enjoy, but generally speaking, I loved it. I would be remiss to say I didn't love the money too. I earned 7 figures. It was great. Everything that I wanted to do in those magazines, I got to do. Travel around the world. I wanted to walk into shops and not look at a price tag of what I wanted to buy. And it's just a different level of freedom, which I was so determined to get because I didn't want to be my dad, And so an opportunity came by. The company was acquired and I was going to get an exit package. And having watched this before with an ex-boss, I'm like, I am going to do exactly what you did, which is take the package and have the next big job lined up.
Jump up.
Yeah. And I had the next big job lined up. And then I got a call that they restructured and the role was like 2 levels, 3 levels below. I said, no, thank you. And then at this time, I had already been, sitting at the dining room table with Jingjin to start working on the Elevate group. So, and I had permission from the other company that I could build it, so that was part of the negotiation. And then I was like, okay, well, I have time on my hands. I have a runway because I have a payout. I can survive the year if needed. And then another call came for another big job. And I raised my price and they were like, yeah, no problem. I was like, oh, now I have to take the call. It's hard, isn't it? Like I have this relationship with money, tug of war.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I want to meet the CEO first. And I met the CEO and I was so disenchanted. And I told the recruiter, I'm not going to apply. I don't want to work for someone that I think I can't learn much from. I think it's important to look up to whoever you're working for. And I always had this great relationships with all my ex-bosses till today. So that's so important to me. And I think you get to a level where you can choose, right? So I had a choice. That was when I think the universe was like trying to slap me a little bit harder and get like, stop knocking on this one red door that you've been knocking on for 20 plus years. There are all these other doors, So
I went the careerquake that you also have been writing about?
Yes. I found a word for it last year and I call it a careerquake. It's just when the very definition of everything you believed in crumbles and you're just sitting in the rubble trying to figure out who you are and what's next and is it truly aligned to who you want to be? And in the hero's journey, people talk about first mountain, second mountain, right? So I think I was at the bottom of the second mountain, but I couldn't see what it could look like. And a lot of fear comes with that. So yeah, that was kind of the journey. And then I think the most scariest thing I did is in May of 2024, together with Jingjin, was to announce the Elevate group on LinkedIn. And because my biggest followers are there, but also LinkedIn is your professional platform where recruiters and everybody in tech that I know would see it. It is kind of saying, don't call me anymore for jobs post, right? People see it as announcing Elevate Group, but I saw it as, please don't call me anymore for tech jobs, which is a very scary, very scary thing in telling people, you're no longer going to be in tech. Scary, very scary.
So that's when you were still on the bottom of the second mountain.
Yeah.
And so you knew what was behind you had no future. That you were certain about.
I don't know. I was not certain.
No?
I would honestly say half of my foot is still like, well, if the right role comes up for the right money, maybe.
Yeah, because you had let go of that life that you just described, right? Money was a big driver because you had seen how it could be and you had different plans for yourself, but also the whole identity. When you described the life that you lived, that you wanted to go to shops and just buy what you like and the travel, dinners, I'm sure everything that comes with it. It's a role and an identity that you also shut the door to then.
The one thing I learned about this relationship with money, Hester, is like it's like a currency. So I find like if I spend money, then money will come my way. And if I don't spend money, like I didn't want to buy new toothpaste when I ran out of toothpaste after leaving corporate. And I went to my travel drawer and I would collect all these mini items and I was using those. And then my best friend was like, what's wrong with you? You're sending a message to the universe of scarcity, not abundance. So I'm a huge believer in energy transfer. I don't know about you, but like, so I've had to figure out the balance of not depriving myself. And the question that helped me the most is like redefining what is my idea of a rich life. And so now I try to live that. It involves a lot of travel. It doesn't involve buying property. It involves collecting wines, stuff like that. So
did you have to learn that for yourself? I mean, there's how society sees success, right? That has everything to do with what you described, your title that's on your business card, your salary, identity, etc. But then you realize that there's something else that's maybe not so clearly described, but that was as important perhaps for you. Probably as important, otherwise you would not have made the leap and you would have accepted that boss that you didn't want to work for.
Yeah. I think that's the extrinsic values versus intrinsic values. And I think you have to allow yourself to be okay to have extrinsic values, like how popular you are or, if you're a creator, how many followers, how much money you earn, stuff like that. Do you have the car, house? Are you eating at a certain restaurant, wearing certain clothes? And then the intrinsic values, I think at some point will take over. What I've learned is that it's a zero-sum game. So if you're 80% here, you're 20% here. And I think that was like the last 2 years is just me calibrating. I still have this, I still have ego and stuff like that. I also went through a lot of therapy. For anybody listening to this, it's like that was the first step to just try and figure out who I am. I have to be able to look backwards with everything that I have come with, including what has been passed down to me by my parents and their parents, and just understand that before I can try and figure out who I am. Yeah.
So what did that therapy do really? Did they ask you certain questions that can be helpful for others as well?
Yeah. Plenty. I mean, first I did the Hoffman process, which is a week, the first part. And I think that goes back to negative love patterns of what you learn from mom and dad. Everything comes back to mom and dad.
It's true.
Yes. And if you have step parents, them too. So I think that's the first step to, like, it's very scary. So you have to be prepared to do that. Then when I came out of it, I asked myself questions like, what advice has always been given to me but never felt quite right? For example, like everybody was like, oh, you should buy a house, you should buy a house, you should buy a house. And I never wanted to buy a house. And there's, now I know why. What is your definition of a rich life? Like now I ask myself, if I am human being number one on planet Earth, what kind of life could I create if I didn't care? Because there's no rules that came before, right?
Yeah.
What would that look like?
So what would you strip away?
Yeah, I mean, I am recently divorced, and I think I got married out of fear of, what if I die alone in the house and nobody finds me? That kind of fear.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's like, also, I was in my 40s. I was like, Jesus, I better get married now. It's like, when is this going to happen? Yeah. All the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Well, it's very personal as well.
Yes.
Right? What is,
yes.
For some, it's helpful to have those structures.
Yeah.
And for you, those structures started to crack, right?
Yeah.
The structures that held your identity. And then
so I think when it comes to building something, entrepreneurship, content, anything, if you can build from the truest form of you, which means you have to go through this ugly, messy, hard stuff and just look at yourself and ask yourself some hard questions. I think that will then pour into the product of what you're building. Yeah.
So how do we see that in Elevate?
Yeah. So Elevate is with Jingjin Liu, my partner. and my work wife. And we are on a mission to elevate 5 million working women in business. And we help them for rising leaders to go from hidden talent to visible leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So what we believe is that visibility, when done right, is the game changer. It is also my story in many ways, and her story. And when you get to senior leadership, you are going to be alone. You're going to doubt yourself. There's a huge mental tax that comes with it. And you need to be in a circle with other women like you. And so that's the private circle offering, so that you can vent and you can say anything you want and not be judged by it, Yeah. So that's kind of what we're on a mission to do. And
how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great right now. If we had this podcast at the end of the first year, I would say it's not going great, Hester, because we have failed miserably, but we failed well. So I think the first year, there's a lot of arrogance that went into it, for my part. Because when you have $1 billion+ business with hundreds of people, you think that, yeah, it's like, I'm going to skip all these things that they say about entrepreneurship. I did skip some, but
which ones did you skip?
I'd say the number one thing from corporate that most entrepreneurs undermine is people skills, as in people management and just people leadership. Because in entrepreneurship, you're not hiring anybody necessarily, but you have a lot of contractors that you work with. And if you don't know how to motivate them, how to get them to do more for you, how to come on a journey with you and be inspired by what you're doing, like that's people skills. I think that is the most undermined entrepreneurship skills.
I had to learn that the hard way. The first one I hired was on waterfall planning. This is what we're going to do. And it entirely burned her out. She was like, I didn't take her on the mission. So, one of the things I learned the hard way, but it's a very important one.
And you have to pour your, like when you have somebody working for you, regardless of whether they're permanent or contract, like you are going to give a lot of yourself to them to like nurture them and bring them on their journey, right? So the ego part is just like, oh, well, I was just like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to build this and it's going to work out. And it didn't, right? We wanted to build a private network. And we learned so much. So I think in hindsight, the best thing you could do is to make that mistake so that you can pivot in year 2. I think there's always a pivot in year 2. I don't know about your experience. And I think if you're not pivoting in year 2, you maybe...
What do you mean in year 2?
Year 2 of entrepreneurship.
Oh, like year 2,
one,
okay. Yeah.
So year 1 is all about, okay, go after that idea.
Yes. Yeah.
And make
it's all learning. And year 2, you got clarity of, okay, this is where real opportunity is.
And I think
what you need to do.
You can't do year 2 without year 1.
Yeah.
Right? So, but for us, it was expensive, right? It was almost like over 100K of investments that was going to go down the road.
Yeah.
Down the toilet. But in a good way. It was a expensive lesson, but a much needed one. Yeah. Then we pivoted.
Yeah.
And so now it's working really well and we're finding our footing and doing really well. We've got over 1,000 customers and we love what we do, which I think is the more important thing. Like Jinjin and I, we're both in our 40s and we wanted to build something that would be around our lifestyle. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to build a lifestyle around the business. And so it was so important to us that we could work from anywhere in the world at any time and when we want, so we try and build it that way. So we're not like let's get this to, $10 million or whatever. We're just trying to do it intentionally and it serves what we need to pay ourselves and also serves the mission.
Yeah. And what is that mission? What's your grand vision?
5 million women in business Yeah, we want to elevate 5 million working women in business. So whatever that means for them.
Okay, right.
For some, that's a promotion. For some, I want to get to the highest levels in corporate.
Yep.
For some, I want to make that leap that I'm afraid of making.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever elevate means for a woman.
Yeah, and this is the space where they can voice that and take the steps towards that.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk about a different thing that I saw in you. So I knew of you. I've been reading about you. I saw you on some panels, etc. And then recently we saw each other on the birthday of a mutual friend.
Yes.
And I saw in you something that I'd never seen on stage. Right? You were kind of fine, more or less by yourself in a corner while people were mingling. It was like 20 people or something like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I didn't ever see that on the stage. So that fascinated me, honestly. And it also led me to invite you for this podcast because going out is already one of the hardest things for entrepreneurs, right? When you have been working for Google your whole life, you start for yourself. Selling yourself is really can feel icky and scary. So that positioning, but you have to because, you cannot sell a secret. Your identity is also a currency. Now, add to that being a real introvert, is what I saw. It's like, wow,
yes,
you have really taken some steps there and put effort in it to get where you are today, and showing up and speaking up and being there, being visible, being heard. So, I see you nodding, but I really like how do you do that? How did you do that? Do you hack it or?
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in fake it till you make it. So I knew that I didn't have a choice. As you become more and more senior, you have no option. Today there's a press briefing. Tomorrow you're on stage speaking to 1,000 people. You are constantly looked at. You walk into an elevator, you have to say hi because there are people in your organization. So I take a deep breath before I open the door and step into the office because, you put on a different mask.
Yeah.
And is it exhausting? Absolutely. So I had to find ways to recover. Sometimes I would lock myself inside a room where nobody can find me and just do nothing. After a big event, I try to leave early. So I think like leaving when your energy is not depleted yet is a good thing. And then just recover by myself. And so, it's not a personality transplant. I think a lot of people think like, oh, I don't want to be this person that I'm not. No, I am still me, but I need to do this job or this work that, it's like sales. People are so icky, but that's the number one thing, It's like, forget the people management thing I said earlier. This is the number one thing. You can't sell. You won't earn anything, right? And selling is anytime you're helping a person make decision or you're trying to influence them to do anything. All of those are sales, right? So yes, I am evidence that how you saw me at that party, sitting on the couch or at a corner and not saying anything. Is really how I am at my resting state.
Yeah. So you were at ease there.
Yeah.
And didn't feel
I
like
am
you had
very
to put
comfortable
up,
to just
mask.
watch and not say a word.
Yeah. But you are really good at it, putting up that mask and that face and getting out there. So
yes,
I don't know if that's a good thing. You've taught yourself, and it has served you clearly. But for all the others out there who have an ambition to build something of their own, and are also on the introverted side, it may be an extra hurdle.
Yes. What can you do? Okay. I have a nephew. He's going to turn 19. And he's more introverted than I am. And so we get along super well. So if the two of us are having dinner, I'm talking more than him, right? So he was like, Auntie Uma, I really want to work on this because clearly I want to travel the world. It's like, so what's the first thing I could do? I said, well, there was one time he was supposed to meet us for dinner and he didn't even want to ask for directions when he got lost. So I said, start there. I said, how about the next time you don't know where you are and you need to, figure it out, like just ask a random stranger. And so whatever that is for you, I think for me, it also started by going to shops and just talking to strangers. Because you step out of the shop, they're not going to remember you. So it's just, there's no downside.
Yeah.
They're not going to remember you, right? I think we spend too much time living a future state in our heads, right? So
what if?
Yeah. I was like, what do you think of me? Whatever. So start by talking to people, random people who you don't know. Ask a question, make a comment. Like if you see somebody wearing a nice shoes, like, hey, those are really nice shoes. Full stop. Keep walking if you're crossing the road.
I did it.
Yeah. It's all real stories. Like, so just start small like that. That's really how I started. And then in meetings, my hack is that I would say the word actually. So I'm like, okay, this is an important meeting. I'm going to have to say something. I always over prepare, as introverts do. I over prepare for meetings. So I kind of know like what I have to say most of the time. So then meeting will go on. And then if I find a gap, I'll just say the word actually. I was just like, actually. And then I was like, shit, now I have to say something.
Yeah, you open the door for yourself. Now you have to go.
Yeah, so like you have to interrupt yourself. Like it's a hard, embarrassing thing. Embarrassment is the cost of entry, Stephen Bartlett. So are you willing to be embarrassed?
Yeah, always making it. Interesting is your writing. You write a lot, right? You write on LinkedIn, on channels, and you told me you're writing a book.
Yes.
So that's another way of self-expression, which is not synchronous in that sense. So you deliver your thoughts and your insights, and people can read it at their own time. So
yes. It is, I believe, writing, is the number one skill on being a great communicator. Because when you have to write, you are forced to express yourself in a limited number of words.
Ideally.
Yeah. And so the higher up you go, can you express yourself and land the idea in 30 seconds, even a minute, right? Because you don't want people to start rolling their eyes like, what is this person saying? Like, get to the point.
About. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what's your book about?
My book is Careerquake, and it's all about helping senior leaders to master disruption before disruption masters them. And it is very much my story of how, you just need to disrupt yourself to reinvent yourself all the time. And the things that worked last year is not going to work this year. So how do you stay relevant? Because number of years does not equal experience, and experience does not equal relevance. In this new world, can you solve today's problems right now is what matters. And that's a bunch of skills that I believe are important. We talked about sales, that's in there, but also just having the audacity to think, I'm just going to run with this. Great communication skills. We talked about that. I think there are like 12 skills that are important that I've noticed for myself. That I'm still working on, but
So you're gonna come up with a framework. I love that with the reinvention, and also what I hear is the opportunity, right? So that you are able to see opportunity and tie that into your wisdom.
Yes.
When we talk about reinvention, what is one thing from your own experience that you overestimated, and one thing that you underestimated when it comes to reinventing yourself?
The one thing I overestimated is that everything that up to today was going to remain relevant. I think nobody warns you about when you call the people that you used to call without the title anymore. They don't necessarily pick up the phone, you have a different importance to them, right? Or that if you did things a certain way, like my example for Elevate in the first year, how we bombed. Well, so I think that that's what I overestimated, is that everything that I have learned thus far shall serve me for my next phase. That's the thing
you need to keep listening and stay tuned in.
Yeah, and I think you got to be willing to throw everything out of the window. Like I spent a year thinking about this book, and just last weekend, I had to throw everything out and I'm going to build again. So I think this is the thing for entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah.
But we're living in the age of disruption. And I think this is more relevant than ever, that can you keep, reinventing yourself? And I think the number one thing is that if your last big investment in yourself to learn something new was 3 years ago, that's a sign that you are about to become irrelevant.
Yeah. That you're stagnating.
Yeah.
And what's one thing that you underestimated?
One thing I underestimated about reinvention is how messy it is. I think like if you really, I mean, it's all micro steps that lead to bigger steps, but it's very messy. It's saying no to the things that have held true for you for a long time. Like, can you sit in the tears and let go of your ego in a lot of situations? Can you not be important anymore?
Yeah.
Can you not have that much money in the bank account anymore? Can you say no? Like last year, I said no to 99% of meetings, because people write to me like, I get like 20 messages a day to meet on LinkedIn. And I respect that. And I love that they took out time and they do want to meet, but then I can't do it. So I think you become unpopular and you become, an outlier in not so good way to them. So like, that's why I think going to therapy is so important. It's like you really have to know who you are and be okay to have people go like, oh, well, she's so important, she can't give time. What, right? But I'm just protecting my energy as an introvert. Yes. Plus, I know what I want. Yeah. And I know what I want to give my time and energy to. And so, I think I'm at this age where I just know, like when you message me for a podcast. By the way, I declined 10 podcasts before you. Okay. But when you texted me, I just know, like, yeah, okay, this is the one I want to do. Okay. So
thank you.
Yeah, we didn't get to meet before, but I think we knew of each other. So thank you for having me. But I think you become unpopular basically.
And how far between 0 and 100? Where are you now on being okay with that?
Oh, I'm at 100.
Yeah.
Very okay. I'm very okay.
Yeah. Because you are you, right? You're becoming you.
Yeah, because I don't give a about what other people think anymore. Yeah. I care about what I think. I care that I don't disappoint myself. Yeah. And I think this is a hard thing for women. Everyone listening, it's like, you put everybody else first and you put yourself last.
That's true. We're very good at that.
So we try not to disappoint others at the cost of disappointing ourselves.
Yeah. And don't be so harsh on ourselves. Right? Everything that we need to do.
I don't know if that's going to end, but yes.
So what's next?
I do not know what's next.
No?
I'm excited about going to bed every night, not going back to corporate. That is my new definition of success.
Congratulations for today.
So tonight, I will go to bed. I'm going back to corporate. Success. Check. Who knows? And this, I think, is the marvel of, I actually don't know what the world has waiting for me. And Oprah says this, the universe has dreamt a much bigger dream for you. Whatever your dreams are, the universe has dreamt a much bigger dream for you. And your number one job in life is to figure out what that is. So I'm figuring it out. Yeah.
And how do you do that?
Number one, by bringing stillness into my life so I can actually listen to the universe. And stillness means, can you sit on your own? When I first started, it was 30 seconds. Now I can do a few minutes. Sit by your own, no phone, no nothing, no stimulation whatsoever, in silence, right? No note taking, whatever. Can you sit in the stillness and just let your thoughts leave your head? Like, for women, the first thing that's going to come is our to-do list. It's like, I need to do laundry later. It's like, I forgot about that. I'm supposed to text this person. Got to put that on the shopping list. That's the first things that are going to come out. So if you sit long enough, it will all leave and you will welcome new thoughts in. So that's the first step. The second, I think, is to start noticing the things that bring you energy. Like you feel good about it before you do it, when you do it, and after you do it.
Right.
Like this is a great example. Like I was looking forward to it. I'm having a great time now. And I'm still going to have adrenaline from our conversation when I leave.
Yeah.
So what are those things? And start noticing them and writing them down.
And making time for them too.
Yeah.
I suppose.
And I guess the third thing is like this Ikigai exercise that really benefited me. And anybody listening to this podcast, you can DM me. I'm going to give you kind of the step-by-step on how to do it. I wrote a newsletter on it, too long to talk about on this podcast, but, figuring out what brings you joy, what you're great at, what the world needs, and what you can make money with. That's how I figured out what I'm supposed to be doing next, although I don't have all the pieces. Yeah.
I love that. Very concrete steps you can take, right? As I mentioned earlier, to me, what helps is swimming. That is where I cannot have a phone when swimming.
Yeah.
And it's the repetition. So after 20 minutes, it's always 20 minutes. I'm like bored the first 20 minutes, like, okay, can we be done yet?
Yeah.
And then after 20 minutes, thoughts start to come in, things start to make sense. And
yes,
it's,
It's you and I were talking stoicism, and water is actually a powerful force that allows you to think. So I do a lot of my brain, like my ideas come in the shower. That's why I love taking extra long showers. Yeah. Like my shower is very long.
Water flow.
Yeah. So water is very powerful.
Great. There's so much in this. I think you already have given your tips. Is there anything else you would like to plant between the ears of people who are restless, right? So at the moment, like, okay, they're in a career, considering starting for themselves. Anything else you would like to say to them?
Yeah, I would say the number one advice I have for women now, which I wish somebody had told me earlier, is to invest in yourself. Whatever that looks like. And it's a myriad of things. It's give yourself that pedicure this weekend. Go get your hair done. Invest in that course. But it's time for yourself to figure out, who you're becoming, because we're always becoming. We have never, we'll never become for the rest of our lives. So invest in yourself. We're always investing in others and we're putting ourselves last. So put your money into yourself in all dimensions of whatever brings you joy, but especially for skills that are going to bring you forward in life.
I love that. Thank you so much. If people want to follow up with you, where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. Just Google Uma Thana. They can find me on Instagram, Uma_raw. And my podcast, Raw with Uma. If you Google it, you'll see it on all platforms.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your candid sharing and all the tips you've shared. Loved speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're listening and you recognized yourself in this conversation, that space between what is and what could be, you can explore the Leap Studio at theleapstudio.co. From podcast series, so this one and more episodes, to the Leap Scan, the Leap Collective, and a full-blown accelerator for ex-corporate professionals who build something of their own. Here you'll find ways to be inspired and to learn and to start strong. Thanks for listening to The Leap. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who might be standing on the edge of their own leap.